a chilly morning of February, back in the year 1849, the verdant expanses of Lawrence Garden of Lahore later came to be known as Bagh-e-Jinnah. History of the region witnessed a never-seen-before style darbar, an assembly of native princes and nobles convened by Sir John Lawrence. The East India Company laid the foundation of a new style of governance. The Punjab was one of the last areas of the Indian subcontinent to resentfully fall under the colonial rule. After almost a year-long war. Immediately following its annexation, the Punjab was made part of the Bengal Presidency and administered separately by a board of administration. After 1853, the board was replaced by Lieutenant Governor's rule.
After the War of Independence, people of subcontinent were introduced for the first time with a system of governance. That was a great change for the people of subcontinent.
In 1858, as the dust of the 1857 War of Independence settled elsewhere in the subcontinent, Punjab, along with the rest of British India, came directly under the rule of the British Crown. The Indian Councils Act 1861, supplemented by the Indian Councils Act 1892, laid the foundation for the establishment of a local legislature in the Punjab, and the first ever legislature in the Punjab was constituted in 1897.
The General Clauses Act 1898, moved by Sir Louis William Dane on 1st November 1897 and passed by the Council on April 15, 1898, was the first enactment in the history of Punjab.
The Council of the Lieutenant Governor was a nominated body of 10 members, and the Lieutenant Governor presided its sessions himself in the Government House, which is now called Governor House, Lahore.
In 1921, under the Government of India Act 1919, the councils of the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab became Punjab Legislative Councils and functioned during the period from 1921 to 1936. The seat of the council was shifted to Darbar Hall, Civil Secretariat, Lahore. The council comprised 70% of the elected members and the rest were nominated.
Some form of elections was there and some nominational form was there. And prior to that, it was just the nominees of the governor. If we travel from 1897, it was a history of a nominated council, then becoming a legislative council, just having the right to legislate, no control over the government, or no check over the government, or no parliamentary oversight vis-a-vis to the working of the government.
It was an honor for this legislature that Allama Iqbal was the member of this parliament.
As the demand for a more responsible government and fully sovereign assemblies grew stronger, the British government was forced to introduce further constitutional reforms. These reforms were embodied in the Government of India Act 1935, introducing provincial autonomy, replacing the previous system of diarchy. The Legislative Council turned into Legislative Assembly, and the office of President was redesignated as Speaker. The Assembly elected its first Speaker on the 6th of April 1937. The first sitting of the First Assembly was held at Darbar Hall as the Assembly building was under construction. The construction of historical building was inaugurated by Sardar Sir Jogendra Singh, Minister for Agriculture, on the 17th of November 1935.
Legislative councils were abolished, and instead of those legislative councils, those who were just given the right to legislate, these assemblies were formed and these councils were given some right, some controlled right of parliamentary oversight. So once the working of the assembly came in, then it became an overarching model. Then it started checking the government through different, previously just the domain of the government.
Sir Chotu Ram, Punjab Revenue Minister, changed the face of rural areas. In the villages, the moneylender were the masters of the poor. These were his main targets, and through landmark legislation, he succeeded to bring them under the caudal accountability, which won him the title Rahbar-e-Azam.
Women started playing an active role in the political process.
1937, the first member who was in the Legislative Assembly was Jahan Ara Shahnawaz. She worked side by side with Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah Sahab and with Mohtरमा Fatma Jinnah.
The first meeting of the first assembly in the newly constructed remarkable building of the assembly was held on the 10th of November 1938. This was the beginning of a glorious history of the legislative and parliamentary system of the Punjab, as a new style of legislative rule had found its moorings in this fertile land of the five rivers.
Very interesting position which this assembly was confronted with. If there were more or less 200 members of the United Punjab, a number could be 5 less or 5 more. It was divided in 2 houses. One was the East Punjab and one was the West Punjab. And both were mandated to vote for the partition of the Punjab, as the case was that India was being partitioned. Both the houses' votes were counted together, and it was won by 1 vote. And interestingly, that vote was of Khan Bahadur SP Sinha, and he was a Christian member.
So it starts from the beginning of Pakistan till now. Minority is playing its key role when it comes to Christian community. Whenever the history of Pakistan would be written, you cannot eliminate the role of Christian community.
The geography of this part of Punjab was created by that vote, and that vote was done in this assembly alone, in which they decided that the West Punjab will remain part of the Pakistan.
14 अगस्त 1947 ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान लाहौर है। आपको पाकिस्तान मुबारक।
आप लोग इस मुल्क पाकिस्तान में अपनी अपनी इबादतगाहों, मस्जिदों या मंदिरों में जाने के लिए, आपका मजहब क्या है, जात क्या है, कौम क्या है, इसका हुकूमत के मामलात से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं।
So I think those historical moments, we are custodian of that record. It make a picturesque of that. I could just make a visual impact. That what would be that moment? Members sitting there, the loud recitation of that Holy Quran being aired, and those moments, those could not be put in words.
This building not only served as an architectural structure, but also a vibrant storyteller. After the independence of Pakistan, this structure experienced the native rule by different political parties and martial law administrators.
Many historical events took place in the history of Punjab Assembly. Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah visited this building in 1947.
This majestic edifice, once housed the Legislative Assembly of undivided India, witnessed the birth of Pakistan and the early struggles of nation building. Its history is intertwined with the nation's journey. This building is a testament to the hopes and aspirations of a nascent nation. It saw the rise and fall of political movements.
With the creation of Pakistan, the province of Punjab was also divided into 2 provinces. So did the Punjab Legislative Assembly. This carried forward Legislative Assembly was dissolved in 1949. The second Punjab Assembly was constituted in 1951 and ceased to exist upon the formation of one unit in 1955.
The Assembly witnessed the passage of the One Unit Resolution merging the provinces of West Pakistan into a single unit. This controversial decision aimed at administrative efficiency but ultimately proved divisive, contributing to the rise of provincial autonomy movements.
The second constitution of Pakistan was promulgated on March 1, 1962, which provided for a unicameral legislature. The principle of basic democracy was introduced for the first time in the country, and the system of indirect elections was presented. The next two provincial assemblies of West Pakistan were constituted in 1962 and 1965 under this constitution. On March 25, 1969, martial law was imposed in the country.
The iconic Punjab Assembly building in Lahore has been at the core of many significant political and constitutional events for the province in particular and for Pakistan in general.
And in 1973 constitution, it was designed in a way as parliaments work. The working of this assembly is exactly the working of a parliament. Here we can question the government. Here this assembly is a mother body with a list of parliamentary tools through which they check the government, provide the oversight, create the government, form the cabinet, make the cabinet responsible to this house. So it is a system which is normally practiced in most of the parliamentary forms of the governments around the globe. In Normans, those who are associated with the Commonwealth Parliamentary Associations also.
The second Islamic Summit Conference was held in Punjab Assembly Building in February 1974. The Summit Minar was built in the center of Charing Cross to commemorate this historic conference.
सारे मुल्क में माशाल्लाह नाफिज कर दिया गया है.
The Assembly's proceedings were halted by the imposition of martial law, marking an unwarranted break in Pakistan's democratic history. The Constitution was kept in abeyance. The building's silence underscored the suppression of democratic institutions.
So it's like, planting a tree, and the tree is, say, 5 years old, and you pull it apart. And how will it mature? It will not mature. But if you plant a tree and you let it mature, it will have a strong roots, a strong branches.
The Assembly witnessed the return of democratic elections in 1985, albeit under a heavily controlled political landscape. The building once again became a hub of political activity, albeit with limitations. With the lifting of martial law on December the 30th, 1985, the Constitution was wholly restored.
Everybody says, what have we done, Pakistan? What has we gained? I feel that Pakistan has gained a lot. We are not losers. We are achievers. But there is a lot more to achieve, which we will.
We celebrated our Golden Jubilee in 1987 on completion of 50 years in this building.
The parliamentary journey was once again intercepted by yet another military coup on the 12th of October 1999. The proclamation of emergency kept the Constitution of Pakistan and the political institutions inactive for 3 years. Ultimately, general election was held on the 10th of October 2002, reinstating the parliamentary institutions.
So if I draw the line and put 3 marks, 1 mark is of parliamentary oversight, for which we have different tools. 1 mark is for creation of the executive as being the birthplace for the government is this house. And thirdly, for the well-being of the people, to legislate, to pass bills, money bills, to pass budgets. So it's a place where you sit, you talk, you engage in dialogue. And in these words, the words which are uttered here are basically the foundation for the society.
In 2021, a new chapter began with the inauguration of this Assembly Hall, the largest in Asia. The building has been constructed with the needs of the next century in mind. It features eyes and nose lobbies with capacities of 200 each.
It can be claimed that the current assembly is the most dynamic and vibrant assembly. Many instrumental changes have been brought in its functioning by the present speaker.
Half of the working is the working of the committee system. Now, unless you have effective standing committees, the working of the parliament is incomplete. The working of the assembly is incomplete for that matter. So we just decided that those rules of empowerment of the standing committees should be in conformation with what the Constitution says. Our committees are very effectively functioning, and we have formed certain caucuses for this, and they will be doing the right things.
The proceedings of assembly sessions and meetings of the committee are broadcasted live, and their archives are also available on our official website and social media platforms and accessible to public, giving a message of inclusion and participation of the public in the parliamentary procedure.
Today, after 176 years, on another chilly morning of 2025, the Assembly session is starting with the same enthusiasm in a new building. The Punjab Assembly has come a long way of transformation and empowerment of the people from a nominated body to an elected assembly.
This time, the Chief Minister of Punjab took a very daring initiative, and she advised and approved a summary that we will hold a National Minority Day in Punjab Assembly. Likewise, the President Speaker supported us, and he summoned a special session on Minority Days in the Punjab Assembly. And that day was dedicated for the minorities. In India, all the Sikh marriages are registered under Hindu Marriage Act, but Punjab province of Pakistan is the first one where the Sikh marriages are registered under Sikh Marriage Act.
It has also witnessed the increased women participation in politics and their struggle for democracy. As a result, we today have the first female Chief Minister, Maryam Nawaz.
I remember in 1977, there were only 12 women. And there were only 2 women who were from the minority. So from there, we were only total were 14 women. Today, we have 66 women in the assembly who are on the reserved seats. There are 9 women in the Punjab Assembly who are elected, and our CM is an elected CM.
The story of the Punjab Assembly is a testament to the enduring spirit of democracy. As the province moves forward, the Assembly will remain a symbol of hope, a beacon of progress, and a testament to the power of the people.